From the banks of Dewey Lake, it's the Dewey Pod Monster.
Welcome back. My name is John, and this is the Dewey Pod Monster podcast. This is a weekly podcast, and it is about consumption and monkeys. This week, it's about monkeys. We are, of course, proud members of the You Run Podcast Network. You can find all of our old episodes, all of our new episodes, and all the other great shows on the You Run Podcast Network at yourunpodcast.com. With me this week is the host of the Dewey Pod Monster podcast. His name is Sean. Sean, host. Sean, host. Sean, host. How are you doing, Sean?
If you don't get off me, I'm going to call the Department of Animals, and they're going to have to come and put you down.
I mean, you've been saying that for the last 4 or 5 years, and it hasn't happened yet. What have you been watching?
Yet. What have I been watching? Let me tell you. I've been watching a couple things, I guess. I've been watching The Boys season 5. Season 5 is the latest season. It's not over as at the time of this recording. By the time you hear this, it's going to be over. The whole thing, all of it. It's a season, the finale. This is the last season. It's going to be over. But as of this recording today, it's the 7th episode. And I got real sick, as you probably heard last week, and I decided I was just going to watch The Boys because I kind of forgot. It's one of those shows that comes out and you're like, oh yeah, that thing's out. I haven't heard a lot of discourse about it this season, not as much as in seasons past, but I haven't probably been paying much attention to it either. So I don't know. I like it. It's The Boys. It's very hyper focused this season to end the series, and I'm not going to give any spoilers or whatever, but it's interesting. It's good. I like it. It's I don't know how I really feel overall about it so far, but maybe I'll talk about it next week when the whole thing's over, or at least for me, it's over. Other than that, I got a chance to watch the WWE Legends, the biography A&E thing. The most recent one, again, at the time of this recording, was Four Horsemen. And of course, it covers the formation of the Four Horsemen: Ole Anderson, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Ric Flair. And then it goes through some of the different iterations of the Four Horsemen, arguably one of the most influential, I guess, wrestling factions, WCW factions, NWA factions. It kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of the things that we know of NWO, Degeneration X, and all that stuff. I think that this episode, though, in the grand total of all the episodes, is probably one of the weaker entries, because it seems like it should be a cool topic. Like, they should have a lot of things to talk about.
Are they the first faction in wrestling?
I mean, I think
tag team, obviously, 3 or more, I guess.
Multiple people.
Yeah.
I think what you would call a faction now, they're probably the first faction, but they were like stables of wrestlers before, I would think. Like managers had, in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
They had it was all territories then, so it was always the same groups in the same places, wasn't it?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, but they had stables of wrestlers. Like, you could say the Von Erichs were like a stable, and that was late 70s, early 80s, about maybe a little bit before. But yeah, I think when you think of a wrestling faction today, it's probably like the prototypical faction. But it's just this episode, they go through the different iterations, like how, somebody left and somebody else came in. Ole Anderson left, and then they brought in, somebody else. And they go through like Lex Luger in it. And I forgot that Sting was in the Four Horsemen for a short amount of time, which is really weird because you have all these all these guys wrestled up through the 90s, like Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Ric Flair for sure. I mean, the fucking guy's still wrestling. But then you see Sting. These guys are all old school wrestlers, and Sting with his face paint on. It's a weird dichotomy. But episode...
Maybe it's just me. I always felt Sting, no matter what era Sting you're talking about, because there was, the Crow era, and then...
Sure. Now there's the Joker. There was the Joker.
Yeah, whatever. I've always felt like he's kind of out of place compared to the rest of whatever's going on in, I guess it was WCW or WWE, whichever he's wrestling under. He always seems like this. I kind of get the same vibe with CM Punk. It's like one of these things just doesn't fit like everyone else that's in there. He's like the only guy who's not I'm sure he's tall, but in a sea of 7'5" guys, he's 6'2", and I'm greatly exaggerating, obviously.
Yeah, no, I think he fits in, but I think that he's he's always been a very unique character. I don't want to get into Sting. I don't want We could talk forever about Sting, but like this episode.
Yeah, no, we couldn't. You might be able to.
I don't know if I could, honestly, because I didn't watch WCW much until like NWO, and I knew of him, but I didn't really know him till Crow. Anyways, this episode, the Four Horsemen episode, plays out really just like a clip show, and they don't really get into why specific people leave. They're just, I mean, Ole Anderson maybe a little bit, but they're just kind of like, yeah, he wanted to move back and live by his kid because he was, he wanted to be a dad and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, there was no conflict in the group. Like nobody, it was just like nothing, because Arn Anderson that's not his real name, right? Ole Anderson, the Anderson family were never really family members. And they kind of get into it a little bit, but they don't really, I don't know. It's just weird. It just seems like a clip show. They just kept repeating the same thing over and over and over again about it and not covering a lot of ground. And then it was just kind of like, and it ended. I don't know. It just seemed like a really weak episode. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is this weekend, while you were out gallivanting around, I went and I was so fortunate to go see the 25th anniversary re-release of Shrek. And believe it or not,
you did go. Okay.
I did. Yes, of course I went. I've only seen Shrek 2. I had never seen Shrek, the original Shrek. I don't know. Have you seen any of the Shrek movies?
I know I've seen the original one. I don't know if I've seen anything that came after the original.
I will say,
I feel like I might have seen 2, but anyway.
I think Shrek 2 is pretty good, actually. Like as far as a kids movie goes, it has what you want in a kids movie because it has those like subversive jokes for adults.
I remember that from Shrek 1. The problem I had with Shrek 1 is it just got so that movie like took over the planet.
Yeah, like, it's kind of like how we mentioned
a whole
about
summer.
Scream and all that
stuff. Like it was just so like, it was so ubiquitous with everything for whatever, I guess it was 2001 because we just talked about this. Like it was just so everywhere that by the time that summer was over, I was like, fuck Shrek and everyone, fuck Michael Myers, like all of them, just because I was so sick of seeing him and hearing like people Shrek. Try to talk. Yeah. So yes, I've seen the original. I don't remember if I've seen any of the sequels, but anyway, continue.
As my kids would say, low key, I think that Shrek 2 is probably one of the better kids movies. Like I said, it's really subversive. I'd never seen the first one. I was in the same opinion of like Michael Myers sucks because he betrayed us. He was all these great characters and now he's going to be fucking Shrek. And of no fault of his, I guess. I mean, whatever. He's just
good movie. For him. Get the money, dude.
Get that bag. But
right.
So watching Shrek, I'm like, this actually isn't that bad. It's not as funny as Shrek 2, because that's my only real point of reference, but
it's a barometer.
I will tell you, it is ugly as sin. Like
is it?
I leaned over to my kid and I'm like, this looks gross. And she's like, yeah, this looks really bad. I mean, she's a kid. She wouldn't know all the iterations of animation and CG, computer animation, CGI, I guess, whatever. Like she wouldn't know all that because she's just, she, as of 10 years ago, is probably the first computer animated movie she's seen. But man, it is so ugly. It is like gross. It's serviceable, but like the textures are all shitty. It's like if there's a door, it's just the same texture like spread across the entire door. There's no variation.
That's kind of right before HD really took off too, isn't it? So they would have had to essentially like reanimate the whole thing to make it look like 2026 good.
They would have had to redo the whole thing.
You can't just upscale it.
Yeah, drop a few textures in the file and be like, cool, it's all good. No, they would have had to redo the whole thing. I mean, I think they would have had to remaster or whatever, like one of those things. I liked it. I mean, I'm not too ashamed to admit that I liked Shrek. If it's still, by the time this goes out, it will not. I don't even know if it was like just for the weekend. We saw it at AMC, so I don't even know if it was like an AMC exclusive thing. But I'll tell you what, man, the movies are the movie theater. Especially those huge multiplex movie theaters, that shit's depressing. They're like these huge places and there's nobody there. I mean, I know that they're kind of having a little bit of a comeback, but it's like a ghost
I've
town.
heard AMC theaters are about the worst of the worst for that. So I go to a smaller megaplex theater. I don't even know what the hell, it's a Regal theater, I think. There's usually not very many people in there either, but at least it's clean and the chairs are not broken in the theater that I go to. And they still discourage you from using your phone during the movie, which I don't know if this is true. If you've been with AMC theater, you can vouch for this one way or the other. I've heard they're actually encouraging you using your phone to order shit from your seat and like having people run food and stuff back and forth. So
maybe those type of theaters.
Which that would kind of annoy me. Like,
yeah, for sure.
You want more fucking popcorn? Get your ass up in the dark and go get more popcorn. Don't light up
over. Get it yourself. Yeah, this was not a like a we're gonna come serve you AMC. This was yeah, I mean, but it was like the seats don't recline. You get kind of used to it. One of the theaters that we go to is like the seats recline, they heat. All this, all this shit. This is like, no, these are the old standard ass seats. And I saw at this
which theater did you can cut around this, but what theater
20.
did you go to? Okay.
I went to this theater.
I was wondering if you were talking about Laurel Park. I was like, that one's a shithole. So
no, that's nice now. They have
is it?
Yeah, because it's not a AMC anymore. It's a Phoenix, or it was never an AMC, but it's a Phoenix. Anyways, I went to the same theater, the same megaplex, whatever, and saw I think it was a 24-hour. It was when Avengers, the initial Avengers movie came out, and I sat through an entire Marvel marathon. So it may have been an 18-hour day or something. And I can tell you, I can't believe I sat in those seats for that long. Because when we sat in them this time, it's like straight. It's like a 90-degree angle. The back of the seat did not budge. You're just like, I'd rather sit on a park bench and watch this the whole time. It'd be more comfortable. At least this way, I had something to put my back on. But yeah. So, anyways, Shrek. That's the last thing I got to see this week. John, what have you been watching, big dog?
Big dog. Well, I have a movie that has some dog tendencies, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to stick with the theme of this episode. If you want to see primates that are actually like, even though this is a documentary, it feels like these are characters that are
they're fucking.
They do fuck.
Yeah.
They do fuck. I watched a gorilla story as told by David Attenborough, which is on Netflix. So it's a newer documentary. It's about, I want to say hour and a half, 2 hours. I pulled it up. I could tell you. It is about an hour and a half long. And I have no idea if they still make like old style nature documentaries. I don't even know if Animal Planet's still a channel or anything like that. But I haven't seen a nature documentary like this in at least 10 years. Like it's been a really long time where it's basically like the premise of this documentary is they're following a family of gorillas, and the alpha gorilla was a gorilla that David Attenborough met. And I know that sounds weird, but they go through and show him meeting this gorilla as like a gorilla, and he's basically followed this gorilla's family from when he met the original gorilla. It's been long dead before this movie, and how the herd of gorilla have grown and become like their own little gorilla community and whatnot. And he's narrating it for about an hour and a half. It's shot like stunningly beautifully. It looks absolutely amazing. Unless you just don't like looking at gorillas for some reason, it like you don't even need to listen to anything. You can put this on mute and it just looks that good of a documentary. Like I said, these aren't characters. These are actual gorillas doing gorilla things. And they're kind of more animated than half the characters in the movie that we're going to talk about in several minutes here. So that's a thing. But yeah, gorillas fucking it once, which I was watching it with the wife, and I looked away for a second because the dog was getting into something or whatever. And she goes, "Do I really have to watch gorillas fuck?" I'm like, "I doubt it." She goes, "No, they're fucking." I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess you do. It's educational. Calm down. Move on from that and whatnot." It's weird because like I felt more emotional like watching this gorilla be sad than I have in any other movie that we'll talk about probably the rest of the year. But it's a really good documentary. If you like nature docs for an hour and a half, it's absolutely worth spending the time with, and pretty cool. They're gorillas. They bang on their chests and run around doing gorilla stuff.
I want to know, I'm going to put a poll up for this episode, and I want, of the choices in the poll, someone to guess how many times you say gorilla in this episode, because you said it. I don't know how many times. I'm not even going to guess. If you guess correctly in the poll, you'll win this. This episode will be free for you.
Great. Without gorillas, I moved on to the movie Man Killers, which is a 1987 movie about a CIA agent who's going to fight like a Colombian bad guy or some shit. It doesn't really fucking matter. It's like a drug cartel. And basically, this movie is EDC bro porn before EDC bros were EDC bros. Like, this movie is just women in military fatigues. Bras are like outlawed apparently in the CIA because they don't have them. but they have a lot of like green wife beaters that are just like scantily, like barely hanging on. Lots of guns, lots of shittily shot shootouts, and a guy gets stabbed in the dick. What else do you need?
You're digging into the AIP collection, I see.
Just the tip. So just the tip. But I saw the cover for Man Killers. I was like, well, that looks like it's going to be entertaining. And this is one of those movies, like I watched the entire movie. I'm like, I really have no idea what the fuck is going on here. I really don't care. I read you the premise based off what's on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Like it's literally just an hour and a half of women running back and forth across the screen, having bad shootouts. And eventually a guy gets stabbed in the dick. Like as to what the narrative is, as to why they're doing what they're doing. I don't know. I don't even think I care. Like, it's not that important. So
sounds like a high recommend.
Actually, it kind of is. I had a lot of fun with it. I was laughing quite a bit, and by the time I was done, I was like, "Oh, it's already been an hour and a half." I'm actually disappointed. And sticking with the older but movies that caught my attention because they have a great poster, I put on 1973's The Werewolf of Washington, which is. I don't know why they make a point of talking about this guy having an affair with like one of the president's staffers, but essentially the president's press secretary is a werewolf. There's a little bit of backstory there. No one cares. You don't need it. That all you need is the president's press secretary is a werewolf, and he does comically bad werewolf things, which often involve doing dog things in werewolf costume because, you know, they're basically the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I don't know. How often do you get to see a werewolf in a suit that still knows how to pause for dramatic effect? Like right there. Bravo. Like I'm all for that. Bravo. I'm going to say this because it's incredibly inappropriate what I'm about to say, but it's from 1973. So you take it however you want. You might cut this out because like got one of those words in it that we generally don't say. But there's a scene where they're sitting in this bathroom and presumably in the White House, and the press secretary is like taking their shirt off, trying to like show this scar on his chest to explain to this other dude, like, I'm a werewolf. Like I have this problem. He's going on for a couple minutes. And then you hear from a stall, would you two faggots shut the fuck up? And then the scene just ends. I was like, what the fuck just happened here? So it's that kind of movie. I think there's a little person in that's making a Frankenstein at one point because they cut to like this laboratory where there's a little dude and there's a like gigantic thing like on a table that looks very Frankenstein-like. It doesn't go anywhere. I think this movie is just pure 1970s like nonsense. And the only real negative I have for it is that we didn't get a sequel that would have been President Werewolf, because that would have been just a hell of a lot of fun. But yeah, a Werewolf of Washington, great poster, highly recommend it. Occasionally culturally inappropriate, but it's delivered in a way that only 1973 can, that as a horrible human being like I am, I found myself laughing at it for way more than I should. You going to cut that line out? Or are you going to bleep it?
No, probably not. No,
like I said,
not.
I wrote the line down because I was like, you know what? Sean would appreciate this line.
As a faggot, I appreciate that line.
That's not why I said it. But I mean, if that's what you want to go, you know what? I don't determine how you identify. So anyway, yeah, that's all I got for this week. I got a, documentary and some old shit. So let's move on to some new shit. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and talk about the movie. It says 2025, but I know it came out this year in January because, January is where dumps go to die. We're going to talk about the movie Primate. We will be right back.
I don't make monkeys. I just train them.
We need to talk about our Patreon.
Do we have to?
Yes. $5 a month makes you a hot dogger. You get early episodes, Discord access, and the ability to vote on stuff we'll probably ignore.
$10 makes you a butthorn, which honestly is worth it just to say you're a butthorn. You also get watch-alongs, episode requests, and monthly recs from two people with questionable taste.
And $15? Congratulations, you're a dirt biking dickhead. You get everything else plus Pod Monster Vision, trailer reactions, and we will say your name out loud once a month like you're being summoned.
So really, you're paying us to hang out with us more.
Which says a lot about you, honestly.
Patreon.com/Dewey Pod Monster.
Come be a dickhead. We mean that with love.
So, you're a horror fan. Interesting. Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast, where Katie and Tel watch the scariest films ever made, with a very large glass of wine. Every Monday, one film, 2 women, 0 chill. They'll cover the scares, the bad CGI, the questionable decisions, the characters who definitely deserved it, all through the female eye. And at the end of every episode, they ask the most important question in horror history. Would we survive? Spoiler, sometimes they wouldn't. And honestly, same. The Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. Find them and all the other great shows at yourunpodcast.com. Bring the wine.
So we're back, and as mentioned, we're going to be talking about the movie Primate. This movie came out this year, and we're going to start with a third-party review, which comes from Cobb. Cobb says, jaw-dropping stuff, 4 out of 5 stars.
Any relation to Corn Cob TV?
I don't think so. It looks like Sarah Silverman in the picture, so probably
That's
not.
unfortunate.
Yes, on multiple levels. So, Sean, now that we know a little bit about this, can you want to tell us what Primate is actually all about?
Well,
Or
I'll
you
do
want
my
me to
best
give you
here.
my, I can give you my Cliff Notes first because they're about as detailed as that third-party review.
Well, let's save the Cliff's the John's notes for after this. But anyways, to find out all that, I go to IMDb. I type in the word Primate, and it pulls up a movie. It says it's from 2025, but then directly under it shows the poster, and it says only in theaters January 9th, and I know that's 2026. So, like you said, where dumps go to die. This is an R-rated feature. It is an hour and 32 minutes long. It's a 5.8 out of 10 with 29,000 ratings. The popularity scale, another movie on the popularity scale. This one is down 473, or maybe it's 473. It's down 90 points or 90 spots or something from somewhere. And we go to
It's
the
confusing.
thing. I don't know. We go to the thing on the top. Ben says they wouldn't put it up top if you weren't supposed to read it first. And it says, a group of friends' tropical vacation turns into a terrifying primal tale of horror and survival. If we scroll on down, we go to the storyline. This one cares. This one cares. This one comes care of frequent contributor Nick Reganis. And thanks again, Nick, for writing in. This one says, looking forward to a relaxing vacation with friends, Lucy returns to her cliffside home in Hawaii after her first year of college. After all, with her father away on business, they have the house all to themselves. However, their reunion takes a dark turn when Ben, the family's beloved chimpanzee, begins to show strange aggression. As Ben becomes an unpredictable threat to humans, Lucy must face a way to escape the raging primate and survive the night. But what good is fighting back when pinned down by a brutal force of nature? What a bad sentence that is. Nick,
You
do
want
better.
Cliff Notes?
Yes, please.
Really simple. Ben gets rabies.
Yeah, and they don't make a secret of that. Like, that's
No.
told to you in the first
Seconds.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it like the opening title thing
They
about
don't tell you that
hydrophobia and rabies and all that?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they're kind of
yeah.
alluding to it. I mean, they're foreshadowing it for 5 seconds later.
Yeah. Well, and then there's a opening scene, which pretty much confirms it right away.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that
Um,
came before that or if it was after. I guess
It's
that was
like-
my
I
question.
think it's the definition then that, but it doesn't really matter. So,
Sure.
I'm going to ask you who's in this cast, but I will say one of the leads in this is Lucy, who is played by Johnny Sequoyah. And I'm only bringing this up because I heard it on a different show, and I think we need to carry the torch for this. We need to rename this actor because it's just a better name. Her name is Johnny Sequoyah. I heard her referred to as Johnny Sasquatch, and I think we leave it that way.
I'm down. Let's petition the court. I think that's how you do
All
that.
right. So, Sean, who's in this movie?
All right, so it's a really small cast, and it's a lot of people that a lot of people might not recognize, myself included. So we have Johnny Sasquatch, who plays Lucy. She's probably best known for Dexter, The New Blood. She was in a movie called Black Eyed Dog. There was a television show early 2000s, I want to say that she was in, or mid 2000. I can't remember what it's called. It looked like it was cool. I don't remember what it is. I didn't even write it down. That's how uninterested I am in what it is. Anyways, we have Jess Alexander, who plays Hannah. She was in a movie called The Beauty. She was in The Little Mermaid live action film thing. She was in Get Even. We have Troy Kotsur, who is probably the most recognizable person from the cast, maybe the second most for sure. He plays Adam. He's the dad. He was in the movie Coda that won the Oscar a couple of years back. He was also in the number 23, which is with Jim Carrey. And then we have Victoria Wyant, who plays Kate. She was in the television show Foundation. This movie,
All right.
estimated $21 million budget, 39 million worldwide gross, according to the IMDb's.
Wow, we got to budget early. I'm kind of surprised by that. I don't know
I'm trying
why,
to hit it.
but
I'm
I
trying
am.
to hit it earlier because we always seem to come up like try and mention it, and then we never never know where to get it.
Half the time we never know what the budget is, so at least
Yeah.
we actually have a number for this
Yeah.
one. So
21 milli.
yeah, so we'll go ahead and start. We'll do the usual thing: likes, dislikes, indifference, whatever. See where this goes. I'll start us off, and one of the things that this movie actually exceeded my expectations. I went into this expecting it to be a shitty January dump movie, and in some ways it kind of is, but there's a lot of things that it does that really kind of remind me of what movies used to be. No, this is not going to be like, I'm guessing not on either of our favorite lists for the year or anything like that, but this movie it makes use of a lot of practical effects. It's not all, but there's a good amount of it. I love that the chimp is primarily a guy in a suit. That makes me happy. And it's one of those movies that's like, it's a genre film this is the kind of movie that would have filled the VHS like aisles if it had came out 30 years earlier, but it came out in 2026. So it's going to go to January and then probably end up on Peacock or some shit for a year until, it makes its way to Tubi. So I kind of like that it's a throwback in that sense. Like, not that it's good per se, like we'll get to how good or bad it is as we talk here, but just kind of what this movie is like as an end product. It really feels like something you would have found in the video store at some point in the past.
I could see that. And I dislike that you brought it up because that kind of like sways my opinion on it a little bit. I mean, it doesn't change my opinion on it at all, but I didn't think of it in that light. And I have to say, you kind of made me mad because now I have to think about it. Now I have to think about it that way. So I see what you're saying, though, for sure. Like, there aren't, I feel like it's just kind of a product of the time that there aren't that of what I'm about to say. There's not that many movies that are really like that anymore, especially that get released at theaters. There's so much like shovelware crap that just get thrown onto a thing like a Tubi where it's like, I don't know, it's like C tier. I guess there's like A tier, which I would think of A tier movies are things that are in the theater. B tier are things that are on like the premier streaming services like a Netflix or a Peacock or a Hulu kind of
HBO
original movie. Yeah, HBO original thing. And depending on like the star caliber, those can be A, B. And then there's like C, which are the things that are just straight to Tubi, the whatever, you never hear anything about them. I will say I have seen enough documentaries. I've seen enough other stuff to have a healthy fear of chimps, monkeys in general.
Agreed.
And I was like, this movie is the worst concept. I mean, I know we're still in likes. Wow. Like, how stupid could you don't have a chimp in your house, man. You don't have a chimp in your never going to have a chimp in my house.
All right. So we're already there. So let's just go ahead and start there. This movie has got a guy who's clearly financially well off. Yes. Cell phones exist in this movie. He has a chimpanzee enclosure on property. He leaves to go to some book signing or something like that. And this is kind of my biggest like leap of logic that I don't like. One of my biggest leaps of logic that I really get annoyed with in this movie. Again, very well off guy. He gets like a hint that just maybe there's an off chance that there could be a rabid chimp inside my home where I know my daughters and their 4 friends are. I know a couple guys show up later, but is it like 4 or 5 of them?
I think it's 3 friends
to start with.
Yeah, 5 people total.
5 to start.
Yeah.
So I have 5 young adults in my home with a potential rabid monkey. You're telling me this fucker doesn't have a ring cam, a fucking camera, something he can look in on his phone to that maybe there's some monkey carnage going on,
some monkey
possibly.
Business. You missed a perfect opportunity for monkey business right there.
Well, I think I said that. I think I already dropped that monkey pun once, but
Hmm.
that, and we'll get to more of what happens with him later. But that there's a lot of leaps of logic in this that kind of take away from a lot of the fun. I was trying to stay positive, but here we are. So
I do have one positive. I also want to say, I feel like it's kind of hard to really talk about the movie without spoiling it. You know, I know this is a newer movie.
I actually don't think there's much to spoil. Like my cliff notes, Ben gets rabies is basically the movie.
Yeah. But I'm going to say, I'm just going to put it out there. We may talk about spoilers. I feel kind of strongly about a few things that happen in this movie. There is one thing, I do have one thing listed in my likes column, so I guess I'm tipping my hand quite a bit. There is a scene later in the movie where Ben is like the scene where he's breaking into the closet. So a couple characters are hiding in the closet and Ben breaks in and he kind of sticks his face through the door, and it has almost like it feels like it's a Shining homage a little bit. Because
it's like a mix of The Shining and Halloween. Yeah.
So I did like that. I want to also mention that the father, Adam, played by, who did we say it was played by? Troy Kotsur. He is deaf. The actor is deaf, and it plays into the movie. The thing with Ben and the rabies is that they don't mention it in the subtitle or in the title thing, that they give you the definition of like hydrophobia is a fear of water that animals can get, and it's a first sign of rabies. I'm paraphrasing it. Hawaii, this takes place in Hawaii. Hawaii doesn't have rabies. There's no like instances of rabies in Hawaii. They're very vigilant about like exterminating,
they also don't have
animals.
chimps.
Yeah. So I could understand him not thinking like, oh, there's this, because very early in the movie, we find out that Ben got bit by some like dead animal mongoose that he has in his, it's a mongoose, but he has this dead animal in his enclosure. So it kind of then plays into it. The part about the dad being deaf really only plays into like one scene, and it's near the end of the movie where he does return back. I don't know. There's like a lot of stuff about this movie that I think it's kind of weak to give that title, that little card about, I call it a title card, that card about rabies. I understand that you're putting it there to kind of set up the events that are going to happen in this movie, and it all centers around Ben having rabies. But I also feel like it's kind of weak for them to put that right up front, because you're already planting the seed that he has rabies. I think it would have almost been maybe a little bit more shocking, or the audience could have made their own deduction if it just so happens that Ben's going nutso and like, they show the thing, and then later in the movie they do reveal that the mongoose had rabies via a phone call or a text message. I think that would have been a better reveal than like a title card at the beginning. That just feels to me like a cop out, like a cheapie to be like, oh yeah, so this is what sets up the movie. Like, prove that we're watching your movie, and like,
right,
have this thing go through. And you mentioned I don't know if you read anything about this. Was the chimp performance like motion captured actor that was replaced by a chimp? It's not somebody in a costume, is it?
No, it's a guy in a costume.
Is it really?
So there's a little bit of mocap in there, like for some stuff that a human can't do. But the guy he's listed in the cast. It's Miguel Torres Umba. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's a very high percentage that when you see Ben doing stuff, it's primarily this. Yeah, it's primarily the actor in the suit, which I actually think is good, because these are mostly, I don't know that they're kid actors, but they're young actors. They're respectfully inexperienced actors. So having a person in a suit there, actually gives them a person to respond to look at, to all that stuff. And you can see that in the movie, especially when Ben's like, beating on someone or doing something crazy like that. It doesn't look like your typical like CG. Someone's just waving their hands around, like they don't really know what they're swatting away or whatever.
Okay,
It's
sure. Yeah.
It looks. I like it. That's the other thing that kind of makes it feel like, I know, right? It's like bad cat.
Yeah.
It also kind of piggybacks on what I had said about this feeling like an old video store rental type movie. It's like, no, we're not going to animate a monkey. We're putting a fucking guy in a suit, and this is what you get. Like,
I got to give him props, because it's a good performance as far as like a chimp goes, but it looks to me, the first time seeing the chimp, Ben, I was like, it's like repulsive. To me, it was like repulsive to see this thing, because it just looks,
I thought he looked gnarly too.
it's like Uncanny Valley, where it looks, you know what a chimp's supposed to look like, and it looks close enough to a chimp, but you can totally tell that it's really off. And the face is like, it looks like a really, like an aged chimp, which we both know is like where you pretty much don't want to have the chimp anymore. That's where, you know, whatever you make monkey brain soup or whatever it is, but you're getting rid of the chimp at that point because it's getting very aggressive, getting mature,
Peeled
and getting
face.
very aggressive.
Peeled face bacon.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, I thought the setting of the house, sure, the guy's very well off. I like that they explain it, but I think it's like the stupidest thing in the world for them to have this house that's basically built into a cliff, and then they have an infinity pool that goes right up to the edge of the cliff. So if you happen to, oh shit, and it happens in the movie, oh shit, I make a miscalculation. I'm landing on my head 500 gazillion feet like below the edge of the pool. That just seems like you would think like the laws would say you have to have a fence around the pool. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the most far-fetched place to have a pool.
Let's bitch about the pool some more, because this is one of the things. One, this movie spends entirely too much fucking time
in the pool.
at that fucking pool. It's probably, mercifully, this movie's only like 88 minutes long or something like that, which is
32.
really good. Which is really good for this kind of movie. If this was like a 2-hour movie, I think I'd be way more annoyed with it than I am.
Yes. Well,
but they probably, if this is an hour and 32 minutes, they probably spend 40 minutes in the pool, at least.
There was a point in the movie where we were 40 minutes into the movie and I still had 50 minutes to go. And I'm like, are they going to just be in the pool the whole fucking time? Are you serious? There's at least 40 to 50 minutes in the pool.
Yeah. And the thing that annoys me about that, you had the opportunity to make the pool slightly. So Ben starts going bananas and they end up in the pool because Ben's afraid of water. They tell you that like 50 times in the movie. And I know the rabies thing, they say like they turn away from water or something like that, but they make it sound like he's always been afraid of water because
he can't swim.
Or whatever. Again, spoilers for this new movie, like when Ben turns, like he pretty early on takes like a big chunk out of one of the daughter's legs pretty quick. Like it's a fucked up wound, and they jump into the pool to get away from Ben, which immediately you're like, that I don't know that that's a good idea, but you know, it starts with like a little trail of blood going to where the people are in the pool, and then as they're like, the blood all goes away. Like the pool is like this perfect crystal clear, like neon blue for pretty much the duration. I thought it would have been cooler if they're going to stick them in the pool for like an hour of this hour and a half movie. Just have it get more and more like red as she's like bleeding out into this pool. At least it would have looked cool.
Yeah.
Or dirty or whatever. Something.
That's the thing. Like there's this movie, there are so many, I don't even remember the last movie we mentioned, but there's so many leaps of logic that the thing.
Time Cop.
What's that?
We mentioned it in Time Cop. Yeah.
Well, this one though, it treats you like you're really stupid. Like everybody that's watching this, and that's, I think, one thing that I really dislike about this movie is how stupid that they treat the audience. Like there are so many scenes where it's like, why don't you just do this? Like like I realize you're not rational and you're panicking and this fucking chimp is coming to do all this crazy shit to you and beat the fuck out of you. But like, there's like one of the characters. So one of the characters is returning home. I can't remember what anybody's name is, but one of the characters, Johnny Sasquatch, is returning home. Lucy's returning home. She brings her friend with her, and her friend, I think, lives in Hawaii too, because her brother's there. And they bring this outsider, this third friend. And she's like, you know, when Ben starts going crazy, she makes a suggestion like, don't you have a gun? Aren't you going to shoot him or something like that? And they get so offended by it.
I feel like in a house like that with a chimp, I don't care how, like, this is not a political statement. I feel like if you have a chimp in your home, you should have a firearm of some kind because you're going to need it eventually, unless you get rid of the
darts
chimp.
or something.
Something
way to subdue this fucking thing.
So, and we'll get, I'm trying to save the third act and like when the dad comes back to the house, because that's kind of where the movie hits its stride to me. But like, to jump ahead a little bit, you do see the dad eventually get in a fist fight with the chimp and hold his own, which is also questionable. But to that extent, you have to think like, okay, I understand he's like, you know, chimp rage, monkey strong, all that good stuff, and he's rabid, so he's probably like extra monkey strong. But forget the girl who's like bleeding out. There's 5 of you to start with. Like, you can't find. You know, at one point they get out of the pool and, you know, they're trying to find a phone or something like that. And the the girl who's like the slutty girl, like straight up like Sammy Sosa's him with a shovel or something, knocks his ass out. And then she immediately goes running back. No, you beat the fuck out of that monkey until he's like mush. Like at that point, like, isn't that what you would do in that situation?
I think
that
so,
monkey's not stopping.
No,
but instead she, runs back to the pool and, gets dead, and that's fine. But it just seems like the smarter thing to do. Obviously you get in the pool. That was a stupid decision. The one kid goes over the pool, doesn't take the monkey with him, which is also
annoying.
Stupid.
Ben is an action star. One of the plans is like, let's push Ben off he's standing on the cliff face. The part that's directly like no gate, nothing. It's going to go directly onto the rocks, hundreds, gazillions of feet below. The kid
that would freak me out too on it, like without the rabid monkey, like just being on that edge.
Yes.
Like, nope,
no thanks. Ben's on the edge. He's like, let's just push him over the edge. So he goes, rushes him, pushes him. Ben falls off the screen. And then he's like, oh. And he's like, the kid's getting all excited, like, oh, we did it. And Ben puts his hand up on the ledge and grabs the kid and flings him off. And they show him fall, gratuitously, stupidly fall down this cliff and land on his neck and do a 90-degree angle on his neck. Like, I don't know, one of the Time Cop that happens to the guy loses his arm. By the way, go listen to our Time Cop episode. Infinitely better than this movie. And he falls on his neck and they show it. And then that's just like it. It's like gratuitously in there. And it's not even shocking. It just looks fucking stupid. Like watching this guy fall head first. Oh,
it's a really long fall. It is a really long fall.
It's just,
that's how you got over 130 in the movie, is that you had 2 minutes of falling. So,
all right, let's drag this falling scene 2 minutes so we can get 132. I heard a movie's an hour and a half.
Right. But even if you get past that, like, so you have the girl that's bleeding out and now dead neck kid. So you have 3 people left at this point. I don't know about you, but if I'm in that situation, I'm taking my chances getting out of the pool and finding the first like hard object I can find and trying to bludgeon this thing. Mm-hmm. Or again, this is a home. Like, okay, you don't have a gun. You're telling me you don't have a butcher knife. You don't have, something that I don't even know what a fire extinguisher, something that's heavy and hard. Hammer,
anything.
Pool
float. Get the fuck away from me. Just like whacking them with a pool noodle. Get away. Don't care what it is. Just go away.
So that leads to another problem. These characters are infinitely stupid and hateable. Like, this is every character in this movie, with exception of the father. I would say the father, he is stupid, but he's not hateable, is basically monkey murder fodder. Like, there's not a single person in this movie that you're not just like, I know I wrote down in my notes at about the same time. First, I wrote monkey murder movie and bored should not be in the same like sentence.
Yeah.
And I'm finding myself very bored here. And then maybe 2 seconds later, I'm like, can this monkey fucking like rabies out so these people can die already? Because I'm really sick of these humans. Like, so between the two, you're really, and again, there's a ton of slasher movies, and I do feel like this movie hits a lot of slasher tropes for sure. Yeah. But there's a lot of slasher movies where that's what the movie is. You're waiting for these people to die. It's an hour and a half. You're out. And then that's what it is. I think that's kind of where I don't know if forgive is the right word, because I don't feel like I care about forgiving this movie. That's where I can overlook a lot of this shit, because it's like, well, kind of grew up watching that kind of shit, but it doesn't really feel like it pays off at any point.
No. I think the thing to me is like, I don't even hate the characters, and I'm not bored of the movie. The part I think that's even worse, it's like a bigger complaint that I have, and I think it's probably a bigger insult to the movie, is that I'm just apathetic. Like, I don't care. I don't care about the characters. I don't care about Ben.
I think they go together. So
I care that Rob Delaney got killed like early in the movie, and he's not even credited in the thing. He's the doctor that goes in and he gets his face ripped off, which kind of looked cool. And I was like, okay, maybe we're in for something somewhat exciting. They are on Hawaii. They have like jungle all around them. He lives in an enclosure that's basically a jungle camp. They could have had all this potential where they're like, he's stalking them through the jungle, or, he's more than just the pool. Like, they just, like you said, they get the pool float because the sister who gets the big chunk torn out of her leg, they tie it with a t-shirt or something, and that just stops the bleeding. She's in chlorine in a pool.
Doesn't seem like it will work.
Yeah, because that's wet place. A wet place is an infinitely awesome place for a wound to heal. And then they get the pool float for her to lay on, I assumed. And then they all just lean on it the whole time and they fall asleep in the pool. Like, you're not even
dog paddle, basically.
You haven't even been up that long. Then earlier in the movie, they call these two guys that they met on the plane to Hawaii, and they show up and they are like infinitely hateable. And you're just kind of happy that the second guy that dies, you're kind of like, I mean, he seemed like he could be an okay character.
The better of the two.
Oh yeah. The first character, you're just like, yeah, kill him because he's stupid. Like, who doesn't know how dangerous a chimp is? Oh, you're pretty strong. Yeah, no shit, dude. He's fucking sitting on your chest, beating on you. Like, that's not playtime. Just like, I'm out of here. Bye.
Right.
The car scene where the friend, the quote unquote hot friend, the third friend, the outsider, she like gets in the car and figures out it's the other one. And then Ben is like, not only is he a chimp, he has rabies and he's a genius. He like knows how to use the car alarm. You know, I mean, they do build that he can like use language with a little, tablet that he can, John, stupid or what.
Dead.
And they, so they show that he does have intelligence, but I'm thinking when you start to get rabies, you don't think clearly, obviously, because Ben is like this beloved family pet or whatever, and he goes crazy and they can't reason with him, but
I don't think you get vindictive or like targeted in who you're killing, because he's like, Lucy dead, Lucy dead. I'm like, yeah, let's get to that. But again, I by no means am I a rabies expert. Not at all.
No,
never had it. Don't want it.
No,
but I don't think
only
a
had it
rabid animal.
Time though, had it for a real short time.
I don't think a rabid animal, when they attack something, even thinks about what it's attacking. I think it's just like a reaction. And
it's like
to my knowledge,
rage.
Yeah. So the idea that Ben is sitting there, hanging out by the pool with the daiquiri, waiting for these fucking kids to come out of the pool so he can murder them. Okay, if he was doing that, it would be a better movie, honestly. But the fact that he's doing that, as opposed to just, I don't know, he's already proven he can get over the infinity pool. He's a monkey, so I would presume his chances of scaling down that wall would be better than neck break kid.
Yeah,
right. Why doesn't he just leave the house and go fucking rage out on whatever else is hanging out around Hawaii? How great would it be if we had a scene where there's some fucking tourist luau and here comes Ben and he just like murks like 15 people in fucking grass skirts like that. Like,
they're doing hula dances and shit.
Yeah. And here comes Ben just like, rah! Just fucking knock my mic around.
Another thing that really bothered me is they find a cell phone. And they're like trying to get, the keypad, I can get into it. The screen must have cracked when it fell. I can get into it, but the keypad doesn't work. I'm going to really I could possibly piss off some people here. Hey, Siri. Hopefully, oh shit, I was going to say something. My phone went off. Hey, Google. Like, all these things are voice activated. They have no problem unlocking anybody else's phone, who 99% of people, I'm hoping, have their phone protected by a pin, a face unlock, something, a
but even if you have
they can just unlock it and be like, call and be, oh no.
Yeah, but even if you have a face or any type of locking mechanism on your phone, you know what else it has? A button on there for emergency calls. So if it's locked and you're having an emergency situation, you can call 911.
Yeah, for sure. And then I will say one last thing about, and this
I want to talk about the third act still, but
okay. Yeah. My thing is a third act thing. So let's go for it.
Okay.
Spoilers abound.
Yeah, spoilers abound. This goes heavy into how this movie ends. Another thing that I had a big problem with in this movie is I feel like it's tonally unsure of what kind of movie it wants to be. And I think a big part of that, I know they're playing into the father being deaf, so when he's involved, there's no sound and that, whatever.
I think that's actually a cool effect, is when he's there, he can't hear that everything's going on around him. And
I'm not talking shit about the effect. I'm just saying to set the table, I guess. So eventually, after he realizes he might have a rabid, chimp in his home, he goes back home. He leaves his signing or whatever the fuck he's doing, some kind of thing, presumably that's, to get paid. He leaves it, and it seems like he's leaving it abruptly because the people he's meeting with don't seem all too happy that he's leaving. So he rushes home, gets in the house where he knows there's supposed to be at least 5 young people there who should be up and, doing 20-year-old things or whatever. He doesn't know about the guys that were there yet, but doesn't really matter. So he starts walking around the house and everything's dark and looks like a horror movie set. Never turns on a fucking light. Goes to the fridge. Yeah, grabs a piece of cold pizza, starts chopping on
Like
that,
Cobra.
looking around. Never notices. Yeah, well, I wish he did like Cobra. If he stopped and did like Cobra, it would have been, again, made the movie better. Him and Ben's got a margarita and he's in there eating a triangle of pizza.
Yeah.
While watching some shit on MTV. Just all the shit that's gone on in this house. And it's apparently condensed to small portions of the house because it's not like the whole house isn't tore up. It's only apparently areas that he doesn't notice that are tore up. It takes him walking into a room and finding like douche nozzle with the jaw scene to realize, oh shit, something is wrong in this house. Again, I know he's deaf. I don't know that the gimmick is, I know the actor's deaf too, so gimmick's the wrong word, but I don't know that was necessary for the premise of this story, but they put it in there and I'm fine with them putting it in there. I still feel like they make him woefully stupid once he finally does come back. Not just horror movie stupid, like dumb human being stupid. Like,
yeah,
dude, you deserve to get your ass kicked by a rabid chimp at this point. And again, he kind of pays it off because he gets in the fist fight and, you know, whatever, we get an ending. But just the level of stupidity, and it almost hits these weird, like, comedic notes that they don't really land, but I found myself laughing. I'm like, what the fuck kind of tone is this movie going for? Like, it feels like it's going for this, like, quiet, suspenseful thing, and then it has this guy walking around eating pizza in the dark while this chimp's, like, murdering his family. Like,
he's like
it's
confused
just bizarre.
Travolta from Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
He's just kind of
pretty much. Yeah, more or less. So,
yeah.
With a slice of pizza.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't know if that's what you were going to say.
No,
So,
my big complaint is the very end where they're loading people. Again, spoilers. So sorry if you wanted to watch this piece of shit. So they're loading everybody, or the daughter, the one that got bitch. The only people that are still alive are the family. It's the two sisters and the dad. They're loading the younger sister into the ambulance, and the dad signs to her, everything will be fine. That as she's being loaned, you know, on a stretcher, loaded into the ambulance, everything's going to be fine, except all your friends are dead. Your house is destroyed. Your family.
you probably have rabies.
Yeah. You're probably going to get a bunch of shots in your stomach. You know, all this collateral damage that has happened. Your beloved family pet, the doctor, the vet that came and visited, probably was treating other animals at your house. They're all dead. Everything's fine. We're good. It's like, what a slap in the face. What a stupid fucking ending for a stupid fucking movie. I guess it's appropriate.
I mean, at least it ended quickly. It didn't drag it out.
True.
So,
True. Very true.
you know, all right. Are we going to keep going on bitching about this, or are we going to fire up the grill?
Then you're in for a big treat, bro. Because it's hot dog time.
I guess I'll kick us off down the banana mobile. No, this movie's not very good. I guess it's worth watching if you like, you know, shitty effects and like relatively shitty movies, but it leans more towards like bad and not great as opposed to bad and entertaining. The couple moments that shine through on it, you could probably catch on a YouTube highlight reel. I'm not really giving it, if I could give it a quarter a hot dog, I would. I guess I can. It's our show. We do whatever the fuck we want. But I'm going to say no hot dogs just because ultimately, I already said it once, monkey with rabies and boredom don't belong in the same movie.
Whose hot dog is this, huh? Is it yours?
Movies like this make me hate chimps. It's not their fault. You shouldn't keep chimps as pets. It shouldn't be some secret. This shouldn't be like, you know, highly guarded knowledge or anything. The movie uses every single cliched horror trope in the book and really treats us as if we're just stupid, just as stupid as the events in the movie. It just, I don't know, it treats the audience, the characters, we're all morons for watching this. They trap them so early in the movie into the pool, and the way that the characters act, they essentially paint themselves into a corner. There's no tension throughout the rest of the movie. Basically, the equation is you get out of the pool equals death. And if you're not the people who live in the house, you die. But if you live in the house, everything's going to be fine because all this other life and all this other, you know, collateral equals nothing. I say, save your time. Watch Shakama instead. I give this movie 0 hot dogs.
Shakama, fair enough. Or King Kong. I talked about that last week, I think.
Yeah.
King Kong's good.
Perfect.
There better monkey movies out there. So.
Yeah, it's 79 King Kong or whatever it was with Jessica Lange. Doesn't matter. It's fine.
Yeah. I think that's all the monkey shines we got for the week. That's another movie you can watch, Monkey Shines.
There you go.
Fucking monkeys. Fucking chimps. If you'd like to follow us for whatever reason, I don't know why you would at this point. We're just going to make monkey puns and talk about dumb shit. You can follow us on all the social medias. We're at Dewey Pod Monster, with the exception of Blue Sky, where we are at crap.town. The show is available at crap.town as well. That is our site. You can also leave us feedback on there. We're available at yourunpodcast.com. That's the network site. You can find us there and all the other great shows there as well. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/Dewey Pod Monster. Anyone who's already subscribed, thank you very much. We appreciate you. We love you. Anyone who hasn't subscribed, what the fuck is wrong with you? Please go subscribe. It would be great. Sean, what am I forgetting?
Yeah, I was going to say any of the things that we talked about earlier in the show, we're going to have linked in the show notes. If you're not quite sure where the show notes are, they're in your podcast player or they're at crap.town. We're going to have links to all that stuff. We're going to try and make them as free as possible. We even try to link the movie we talk about. This one's going to be tough because I don't think it's anywhere for free. Hint, hint. Unless you know, whatever. Anyways, we try to make all those things free. I don't know of any other show. I've never listened to another show that gives quite as much free stuff to its audience as we do, including this episode. If you can guess how many times John said gorilla in this episode, you'll get this next one for free. It's on us. And if it's not for free, it'll say Amazon after it. If you click those links and you buy anything from Amazon, you buy some bananas, you buy some symbols, little finger symbols or something, any of the money that you spend on that stuff, if you follow the links that say Amazon in our show notes, gives us a little bit of scratch. We take it directly out of Jeff Bezos's wallet. He won't miss it. And yeah, if you want to follow me on social media, you can find me exclusively on Blue Sky. I am at internalbleeding.crap.town. John, back to you.
Gorilla up, butthorns. See you next week. Cheers.
Bird season's over, butthorn. Blah, blah, blah.
I would bet.
It's easy for you to say.
Fucking dumbass. We are, of course,
John,
proud members of
John, dumbass.
Yes. Anyway, we are, of course, proud members of the You Run Podcast Network.